People are struggling and looking for answers. God has given you the solution and has called you to leadership. Now it's time to grow and prepare while learning how to use your gifts. Jamal is an experienced leader that uses his gifts to lead change. Now he's sharing what he's learned with you so you can fulfill your leadership assignment. Prepare to be ignited, to lead like a champion. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Igniting Champion Leaders Live. I am your host, Jamal Maxsam, Igniter of Champion Leaders. I'm so glad to see you, everybody who's joining me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, those who are listening in the hallway of Clubhouse. Now, this isn't the normal time that I go live. Normally, this particular video podcast or audio podcast, I normally go live on Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern in the Igniting Champion Leaders Club, as well as on these other various platforms and on my website. But what happened this last Wednesday, as I was going live, right as I started the live, I began to experience some serious tech issues with the streaming software, with the software I use for the camera. It's almost like my computer and my browser were both trying to do automatic updates at the same time, right at the moment I was going live. So those who were in the room on Clubhouse listening to the VIP in the Igniting Champion Leaders Club, they heard me continue on while trying to fix the video. After that session was over, I went back and I didn't like the quality of the way the camera looked. I didn't like the fact that it froze and then kicked me out, then brought me back in. So I just took it down. I believe in a certain level of quality should always be demonstrated in relation to leadership and being a believer that's in leadership. So I took it down, and today I'm redoing the live. I didn't want to just pre-record and send something. I just do the live, and the people who are able to catch it will catch it. And if they can't catch the live, they catch the replay. But for those of you who are catching me live, go ahead and put something in the comments. Let me know. If you catch the replay, let me know. The comment section is open for questions on all the platforms as well as on Clubhouse. And then after I end this video portion, I will take a short time to facilitate a little more discussion on Clubhouse. And so what we're talking about is the power of mentorship. I was in situations, and I've been in situations where I needed mentorship, especially stepping into leadership roles. I was blessed to start my leadership journey at the age of 16 when I became a manager at a fast food restaurant. I read my first leadership book at the age of 17 and, just kept going from there. But I would say the time I needed mentorship the most is when I became a school principal. Throughout my life, I've been in various leadership roles and have learned leadership, studied leadership. But this one scenario, because I was stepping into a new position of leadership and I felt the weight and the responsibility of it, it was the time I needed mentorship the most. Now, I have a life mentor and had a life mentor at that time. But what I needed was mentorship in school leadership. And I didn't really have it. I had someone who said they were doing it, who had the desire to do it, but unfortunately it didn't translate into what actually happened. And to be honest, I wasn't sure that the person had the capacity to do it. Now, I'm not saying this person definitely had the skill set, but I don't think she had the capacity because she was embracing a new leadership role and finding her new identity as a leader with this newer role and this higher level of responsibility. And so that caused me not to really get the mentorship that I needed. And so, of course, later on, I learned how to adjust. And what do you do when your leader is not a coach or a mentor? because a lot of times people assume that just because a person is in leadership that they're automatically a mentor or a coach. And sometimes people assume that just because they are in leadership that they are actually mentoring and coaching people just automatically because they are leading. And that's not the case either. And so when you are in leadership, there has to be some intentionality to mentor the people that you are serving through your leadership. And when you are in a and the person you are following, because every leader should be following somebody. And when the person you in relation to you being a follower, you need to be intentional to seek out mentorship moments from your mentor, as well as grow through continuous, reading, listening, and watching podcasts like this, getting in my workshops and classes, that kind of thing. And so I want to talk to you about the power of mentorship, because too many people underestimate the power and the exchange that happens in a mentorship relationship as a leader, and why you need to position and posture yourself to mentor people intentionally. Not, oh, it just happens because of how I lead. Yes, there's a degree of mentorship that happens automatically as you are leading, simply because of how you lead and your style of leadership. But I'm going to encourage you today to be intentional to create opportunities for mentorship and create opportunities for people to grow and learn from you as you deposit and share the wisdom that you have received with the people that you are leading. And of course, everybody that you are leading is not going to want to be mentored by you. I mean, that's just a reality. Some of the people you're leading are going to think that they know more than you. Some of the people that you're leading are going to think they know what you know. They know exactly what you know, and don't think they need to learn from you that way. They think that, hey, I'm just here to help you, but you're not really helping me. And then there are going to be some who are going to pull on you and draw on your wisdom and draw on what you have learned. And they'll be the ones that will present themselves as being desirous and, what I would say, hungry for mentorship, because they recognize the growth. Mentorship unlocks keys and unlocks the destiny of the mentee. It also accelerates the progress of the person learning so that they can have a greater momentum as they walk out their assignment. And so we're going to talk about this power of mentorship and what that looks like, and why you need to not only engage in mentoring others, but hopefully as you hear this, you will make sure you are being mentored by someone. All right, so here's the first thing. And I am so glad to be on the video. So as I was saying in this intro, it is possible to be a leader without being a mentor. Just because you are in a leadership position does not mean you are mentoring people. There are different levels of leadership, different dimensions of leadership. And John Maxwell talks about positional leadership being the lowest form, meaning you are in leadership and people are only following you because they have to, because you have a title. And so that doesn't make you a mentor, because nobody is really vibing or really clicking with you as terms of a leader. They just do what they have to. And so a lot of times people just think, because they know a lot, that they're automatically a mentor as well. Being knowledgeable as a leader doesn't mean you're automatically a mentor, because mentorship involves the process of building the relationship and sharing not just the knowledge, but the revelation. And we'll get to that more. And so as you are thinking about mentorship, I want you to think about what you're teaching, who you're teaching and mentoring, and are you extending your influence beyond the performing of a task that helps, are you extending it to help people embrace their gifts and their identity? I'll say that again. As you are thinking about mentorship, think about who you are teaching and mentoring, and ask yourself, am I extending my influence beyond helping somebody perform a task? Am I helping them embrace their gifts and their identity? A lot of times mentorship in a business setting and even in a school setting, and I'll just say in most settings, it's all focused on performance. When I was a school principal, it was like, let me coach these teachers, or people were telling me, because I didn't do it, I did it differently. People were telling me, coach the teachers so that they can teach better and help the students perform. When I was in business, it was coach the employees or the team members so that they can increase job performance. My perspective on mentoring is what I'm sharing with you, and this is what I did in both of those scenarios. I didn't mentor people for improved job performance. I mentored them to help them embrace their identity and identify their gifting and to sharpen their skills. Now, that resulted in increased job performance. But I recognize I didn't mentor for the end result. I mentored for the growth of the individual who then would produce the result. And so you want to ask yourself, are you mentoring people, or are you investing in people to help them grow as an individual, which will ultimately produce the results you want anyway? Or are you skipping past seeing them as an individual and just trying to get a certain result? Because even though the end result is the same, but your perspective will determine the process, and the process will determine the amount of growth that the individual you are mentoring will receive. And so another thing about mentorship is this: it's a way to provide insight and wisdom to the other people and helps them grow. Is not, again, it's about insight and wisdom. It's about giving them insight into certain areas of the place you're leading or how to lead, and helping and giving them wisdom, which is how to apply that insight to help them grow. Because too often people, especially right now with so many online coaches and frameworks and all of those things, everybody wants a 5-step, 7-step, 9-step, 12-step framework. Or people want to say, tell me exactly how to do it and I'll do it. Well, insight and wisdom would give you a framework, but it will also tell you and help you learn why it was successful, how it was successful, and how to make sure that you can adapt it to fit your current situation. See, knowledge would tell you that you have to that there's a one size fits all. Wisdom tells you that you take the framework and it applies differently to every situation. Because leadership, a lot of times in leadership, people want the one size fits all. They'll tell you, if you do these things, people will follow you. If you do this, people will like you. If you do this, people will like you. When I was a school leader, people was like, if you give the teachers a Gene Day and you buy them breakfast and you buy them lunches, they'll like you. Well, they didn't necessarily like me because of that. They liked the fact that I gave them those Gene Days and bought them breakfasts and lunches. That didn't make them like me. Those who did like me, and I'm going to be real because there were some who didn't, and that's just the reality of leadership. But those who did, they did because of my consistency in building trust, not trying to earn it, but building trust, my consistency in implementing the vision, my consistency in supporting them and taking an interest in them as an individual, and my consistency and passion for the people we were serving. And so that's what made the people like me. And so I'm gonna tell you, there are times when mentorship is super critical, and there are 3 times, and really 4 times, and you almost want to say all the time mentorship is critical. But here's especially times here. Mentorship is especially critical and needed prior to transitioning into leadership. Too often people seek out mentorship and leadership after they've gotten a position. They say, oh, okay, I've gotten this position, or I've started this business, or this calling is on my life, and now let me go get a leadership mentor because I want to lead good. I want to lead effectively. I want to give God glory in my leadership. But here's the problem with that. You don't learn to swim when you are in the middle of the swimming pool after you've fallen in by accident. You learn to swim prior to jumping in the deep end of the pool. So, you learning to lead or starting your leadership development journey after being put in a position of leadership will, one, slow your progress and effectiveness in leading others, but two, increase your chances of hurting people as you lead. Because leadership is a continuous growth process anyway, and you want to be conscious and careful that you're not hurting the people you're leading. So then the next leader has to deal with somebody coming to them hurt, and those scars and wounds, and they got to help them heal, and a lot of times deal with the trauma from the person who was hurt by the leader who was trying to grow on somebody else's, at someone else's expense. So you don't want to start then. You want to start prior to transitioning into your leadership, and then you want to make sure you are growing as you transition through different levels and opportunities to lead. And then you want mentorship during the transition. Just because someone knows you as you lead in the current level doesn't necessarily mean that they automatically know how you're going to lead when you begin to lead at a higher level or with greater responsibility. If somebody knows you, as you're leading as a team leader and now you're the CEO, there's two different, you're going to lead differently than you did as a team leader. And people are going to see you differently. So they have to get to know you in this new role or this new way of operating. And so during that transition, you need mentorship because you're going to have to adjust your perspective and your approach to recognize the new level of leadership that you're operating in and how to continue to build influence in that new level. And then, of course, after the transition, you're going to need mentorship as you begin to walk out your assignment at a greater level with a greater intensity and with a greater impact, which is why I say it should be ongoing, because afterward, you're going to need mentorship, and then recognize you're only going to lead at that level or that degree for a certain time. Because those of us who lead from a kingdom perspective and are believers called to leadership in whatever sphere of influence, God will continuously take you from glory to glory and faith to faith. While that is supernatural in nature, it plays out in the natural because your influence will continue to expand as your capacity continues to increase, as the vision continues to come into fulfillment, and you begin to walk out the largeness of it. And so you're going to always constantly be growing in your ability to lead and in the people you are leading, as well as in the influence that you have with people outside of the organization you are leading. Because when you are leading, remember, you're leading in multiple levels as well as dimensions. The multiple levels of impact are the people you directly serve, like the team, then the people that serve secondarily, like the people that you along with your team serve, and then people who are not a part of your organization or are not served directly by your organization, but know you or hear about you or your organization, because your influence and your image and branding has to extend to them as well. So you want to be conscious of how you are leading. Now, I'm gonna tell you this about mentorship as well. Mentorship is one of the ways you extend your influence by developing other people to step into their identity. And you hear me say all the time, you should never duplicate your leadership or try to say, I've heard leaders say, if I just can duplicate myself into my team, I could get more done and blah, blah, blah. No, that's the wrong perspective. You don't want to duplicate yourself. You want to create extensions of leadership, meaning you set the leadership standard, you cast the vision, and then you help other people step into their unique identity using their unique gifting to lead. And that becomes an extension of leadership and not a duplication, because trying to duplicate your leadership is trying to make everyone you're leading be the same, which is not possible. You can, even with identical twins on the outside, there are differences on the inside. And so you cannot try to make people be the same. You don't want to create an environment where everybody is the exact same or trying to be the exact same. You want to create the environment where people are free to be uniquely them, and their expression adds to not only your leadership or the leadership of the organization, but it also enhances the ability of the organization to serve and meet the needs of people, because there's a wider expression where people are complementing each other, and each gift playing off of the other gift, and each strength complementing the other person's strength. So you never want to duplicate your leadership, but so you want to extend it. But the issue that I have seen is that there are many leaders who don't know how to develop other people. And some of them engage in mentorship for the wrong reasons, because a lot of people now want students, they want disciples, they want to say they're coaching someone. And so unfortunately there are a lot of people out there that engage in mentorship just for a follower count. They want to say that their social media has so many followers. They want to say they have so many students in their program. Or they want to say, I coach this many people. I mentor this many people. Or, and especially in a corporate setting, oh, this whole department, they listen to me. I mentor them. But the problem is the motive. If someone is engaging in mentorship for reasons other than the development of other people, they are wrong, and they will not produce the result that's needed. And so because there are a lot of leaders that are mentoring people, and what they are mentoring people in and teaching people often disconnect them from their purpose rather than connect them to their purposes and destiny. And so as a leader from a kingdom perspective, and I'm telling you, and the reason why I'm emphasizing kingdom perspective is because you have to recognize your leadership and your mentorship is not about you. It is about the people you are serving and the vision for the people you are serving. So, and the last thing I would say is, unfortunately, there are people out there mentoring folks that are not being mentored themselves. You cannot reproduce what you are not. You cannot take people to places you have not been. So you need to make sure you have a mentor, and you need to intentionally engage in mentorship yourself. Now, I'm going to give you 4 keys to position yourself as a mentor in your leadership. All right. So number 1 is you have to accept the reality that mentorship is part of your leadership assignment. Do not go through your leadership assignment, leading change, trying to make things better for the people you're serving, without recognizing there's a responsibility to mentor somebody in that place you're assigned. You might not be able to mentor everybody, like I said at the beginning, but there are a select few that you are able to mentor to help grow. That's part of your assignment in that place. The second key, you want to ask God who you're supposed to mentor and the level of mentorship you are to provide, because everybody is not going to be willing to receive from you. And like the Bible says, you don't want to cast your pearl to the swine, meaning you don't want to give what's valuable to something or someone that's not going to appreciate and recognize that value. And that's how leaders can get hurt, because they're pouring into and giving value to people who don't recognize the value of what they are receiving or the value of the leader. And a lot of time, and then when they do something funny, then the leader gets hurt. It's like, man, I put so much time, effort, and love into them. Well, you have to recognize the degree of mentorship you need to provide. I'm not saying you cast anybody out, but everybody can't be in your inner circle of people you're pouring into. It has to be the people who want what God has deposited in you, and the people who are ready or have the desire to value what they're going to receive, because you have been called to them. Not, you didn't just choose them because you like them. You are are called to them. Because I'll tell you this, because sometimes the folks that you might need to mentor, you might not really in your flesh like them. You might be like, ugh, why do I need to mentor them? They seem like they're always being so difficult. Well, however, you may be the one that helps them grow out of that difficultness, quote unquote, and help them reach their potential and walk out purpose and destiny. All right, so let me get to these next one because I'm like 5 minutes over on my video because I like to try to stop it at 20 minutes. And so the third one, you want to start the process. You want to start teaching them the what and explaining the why. This is the wisdom part. You not only give them the what, but you give them the why, so that they not only know what to do when they see certain scenarios, they know the why. Because once they know the why, they can really determine if the what will fit their situation when they see a similar situation. And so if they don't know the why, they'll just think every time this happens, this is what we do. And that might not be the case. Because there's a perfect example of that in the Bible. When there was a famine in the land during the time of Abraham, he went down to Egypt. When there was a famine similar in the land during the time of Isaac, he was going to go down to Egypt because that's what he saw his dad do. But God told him, don't go to Egypt. Same scenario, but there was a different strategy. Okay. And it was so you can, as a leader, you can face a similar scenario as someone, but just because their strategy might not fit this time. Some strategies are time and situation specific. That's why it's important in mentorship to share the why, so they can recognize what's time and what's situation specific. All right, here's the last key. You want to take the posture of continuous growth, so that you are in the best position to help those you mentor grow. Take the posture to grow continuously. You should continuously learn leadership. You should be learning leadership continuously. Reading books, listening to podcasts like this, getting in my courses, and other people, I don't want to say other people's courses, get in my courses, because you want to continuously learn how to lead. I'm continuously learning all the time. I listen to podcasts. I get mentorship moments from my mentor. And right now, even though I'm at the time of this recording, I'm teaching a collegiate level class called Leadership of Teams. And I'm reading the textbook and drawing from it even as I'm teaching the students. And so I'm positioning myself to continuously grow. And so you want to do the same thing. Position yourself to grow by getting mentorship yourself. And so with that, I'm going to give you the opportunity to get mentorship from me. The Get Ignited mentorship is available right now. Yes, of school. I am launching the school in January of 2023 with all type of leadership tracks and courses. Especially, I have some on dealing with toxic leadership and how you shift and change a toxic environment, interviews from people. All of that cool stuff is going to be in the school. So you definitely want to stay tuned and stay connected so you can enroll in the school. But right now, even before, why wait for something you can do right now? Time is of the essence. You know God has called you to leadership. Get this mentorship right now. So go to jamalmaxsam.org/strategy session and get mentorship from me and on how to, one, lead according to the kingdom perspective and get activated in the prophetic and to operate in the supernatural. Because as a believer in leadership, you need to operate in your gifting. No matter where you're assigned, in business, schools, whatever, you need to be activated in your gifts. So part of the mentorship will allow you to learn how to do that. All right. So for those of you who are watching, thank you so much for watching this pop-up live. Like I said, I wanted to do a redo because I took Wednesday's videos down because I just wasn't happy with the quality. I didn't want to just leave anything up. I wanted to serve at the highest level possible. So I will see you next week. This is being Monday. Join me at 7:40 a.m. Eastern on the whatever platform you're watching me on or on my website for a time of prayer. 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes time of praying, because as a leader, you need to be able to devote some time to praying and hearing God. A lot of people are talking about leading from their intuition and following voice and all of these other things. as a believer, you follow God and you want to hear God's voice. All right. So we're going to take that time to pray. So with that, I want to tell you to be successful. As always, that's my desire, is that you're successful and lead like a champion. Bye-bye.